That's the thing.
Alright, what's going on?
Walk with the Earth Mother.
Zebra hooves. And then, okay. It's the most agile horse in the world.
I got what you need!
$30 silver. 30 silver. Only 270 though. I mean, it's good. $30 freaking silver though. Level 17. Holy shit.
I need to get closer.
This guy's gonna fuck me up.
It's too far away.
I can't remember to change that if my life depended on it. But I could return in this quest. Lower the 50. Do I need? I mean, I do need to go to Thunderbluff too for a couple things. I think it wants me to buy a thing. We'll scope it.
How you doing, man? Okie dokie.
Fucking for real. Oh no. I need to grab all this shit. Creating a bunch into the war effort, so I need to buy everything, or I mean loot everything I can. Make sure I get my skill up.
I'm out of range. Wow, there's just so much. Garden.
What? Fucking Makara? That's intense. Are they 60s? Wait, level 40, it says. Level 40, Makara. Why would you do that? At level 40? Oh my god. Why would you do that? I mean, if you're both ballers and you feel like you got it, maybe. He's not even 40 yet. So he's got a level to 40 to then Magara. Come on, man. That's brutal. That hurts. That guy got like 2 Fs. Nobody's paying attention. Like I gotta take a shit.
I need to get closer.
I wonder if the other one's on Alliance.
It's too far away. I'm out of range.
Oh, in the arena. That's not a good idea. That is not a good idea. There's gonna be interference for shizzle. Exactly. Now, how do I get up this fucking thing? It's a real question. How do I get up there? Did I jump across or something? Running out of my speed and my speed buff, so fuck. Need to get this done. So, I was up here already and I went the wrong fucking way. God damn it. I ran right past this shit. Feels bad. He doesn't want the chest? The fuck? There he is. What the fuck? That's why caves suck ass. Shit spawning on top of me that I just fucking killed. It's true, but we'll go like that. Maybe. I don't know. I wish I changed it to here at least. Right, a Thunder Bluff. Guess we'll do some Overwatch.
No rally, no grav. Bob, you used a lot in that fight for the Paris Eternal. You're in trouble here for Paris. This is a spot where Sato can get to the high ground, put some damage. Sato will probably have Primal Rage here as well.
Alarm sees the Hulk coming, tries to sleep into the back line, but Sparkle will be allowed to do what he wants for the time being. Alarm knows he's being harassed. He tries to get rid of this Nano Boost now, and Ivy's trying to get rid of the Eternal. Immortality Field there was right on time by Field. You can't fault him for that. Great whip shot, preventing Ivy from getting a dash reset for his last slash of the blade.
Oh, that was good D from Paris.
Yeah, FD God. Very good FD.
Well, what they decided to do there is when the blade came in, instead of trying to turn and deal with it, they just muscled through the remaining players on the card. They said, hey, you know, look, they have a Winston in the back line, Nano Blade. There's no saving Xe in the back. You know, you had Fielder there as well. Let's just use our Brig and push through the front line. There's nobody here. And they're able to win those engagements. Now give themselves a chance to hold the cart.
Sparkle's hunting for something.
Oh, nice. That was a good halt there from Ben Best.
Only 23 seconds left. Paris Eternal have been doing very well, actually, even when short-handed in some of these fights, Matt.
Grab Pulse Bomb here. It's a possibility.
Okay, Primal might make this a little hard to put together. I don't know what Sato is trying to do. He's just... Oh, right now he's just bouncing around the place, actually.
He has to just touch point.
Right. He was low on
Trigger
health.
OT.
He got point. Here comes that Graviton Surge. Pulse Bomb you expect will be coming out in just a moment. Oh! The hack! No chance for Sparkle to drop the Pulse Bomb. Maybe tried to. It just didn't really find its mark. Either way, Heartbeat is down. Fury's close to a grab. But he needs to get damage, not on shield, to actually charge that one up properly. Alarm lets the Nano Boost go now. So Ivy's going to try and make something happen here. It looks like Alarm nanoed a target that was just about to die. Maybe it was Sato.
He doesn't want to push in here because you're playing around Fury's grab.
Oh no! Fury over the edge. Fantastic punch by Sparkle. The Doomfist comes out at just the right time. Bit of a clutch pick for him. And yes, Philly weren't ready for it. They are knocked off of the card. And the Paris Eternal, really impressive. They weather the storm of this frustrating dive composition, and they prevent Philly from finishing the map.
They come out clutch. That one, it was looking like it was getting out of control again, but that time Paris was able to stabilize, and it was that one fight where Nano Blade comes in for the Philly fusion. Paris, instead of turning and trying to defend it, which would have allowed Fury and Co to just kind of push up, eliminate players, they just push straight on through with the Orisa and their own Zarya and their Brig. They're able to take out players.
Level 10 Shaman.
Playing on card.
Where do you get Cauldron Stir?
See what they decided to do.
What?
Philly, I think probably comes out, plays that same dive yet again. Paris, do you try and play like Xe on?
Where do you get that?
Widow. You can maybe play some McCree. This is interesting. So this tells me that Philly wants to play Brawly and close. They want to defend really close to the door.
A little dangerous this is, because this, I believe Paris probably look at their best when they're dealing with double shield, but this is a twist for Philly. More mobile, more lethal. And it has May, so that's filthy.
Oh, I think this will probably catch them off guard a little bit. They probably expect Philly to play something a little bit more dive-centric on D.
But once the surprise factor expires, is this still a good comp to be going with?
This is what they tried to play on Control, right?
That's true.
This is exactly minus Carpe and Poco. This is exactly the composition they ran on Control, where they got dominated.
I was going to do that right now.
The only thing here is Paris cannot kite it as easily because there's a central objective that they have to go to. This is almost like if Philly would have had control of the point,
right.
we would have seen it play on
That's
Control.
a fantastic way of putting it, Matt. Yeah, it's like this is more of a dynamic setup now, where Philly actually get to choose to have Paris come to them. And well, FD God walks straight into Hisu's sights on the Widow.
Like, this is how it would have worked if they were holding control of the point. Mind you, Sparkle's 90% to Blade.
Oh so fast.
The dash through and the damage is pretty decent.
This guy is crazy. All right, he'll have a Blade in just a moment here.
Can he use it safely, though?
He was going to try it anyway. I mean, he wants to brawl and it gets punished. Okay, it's a trade. Sato goes down. Discord or finally gets stuck in that coalescence from Alarm. It's not really enough to keep the front line is alive for Philly. They can stagger, brawl out a little bit here, but eventually they'll have to give some ground. Oh my God, Hisu! 2 quick headshots in succession. The grapple shot, it looks stylish. And I mean, yeah, I don't think Sparkle wants to hang around out in the open.
Yeah, I was going to say, you still had your 3rd tank on the point with May, but you may as well back out here. Now this becomes much harder for Philly to play. Now it'll probably look a little bit like
Peace, friend. Walk with the earth.
Aww.
Greetings. Be careful. How may I aid you? Farewell.
Even bothering right now. Field is stuck in position there. He can't move unless he has a fade. And Benbest goes down on the point without the healing, and Easy finds yet another one. The second coming of Carpe. And the Philly Fusion close the series out here on Havana against the Eternal. First, it's a dive composition with Sombra. And then they mix it up. They go for Reinhardt, a brawl composition featuring Widow. Something completely off the wall. And you were right, man. It looked like the Eternal were caught by surprise.
They definitely were caught off by surprise, but I think Philly they were tremendous. Once they made the adjustments to play Hisu and Ivy for the rest of the series, pretty much.
What is happening here?
Not play more standard type of compositions and play this dive that they've really been working on. And we've seen them run it on lots of different maps. They've run it on Gibraltar, and Nimbani we saw it on in this series, and it's always looked really good. They go to it today, and Paris had no answer for it. You see, Paris really gave a good effort in trying to play like more of a stationary, like bunkery type of style, just kind of hunkering down around like an Orisa or Rhine. They tried it without the Lucio and really playing around like Immortality and Brig. They tried it with a fast play, with like rush comps trying to run players down. It didn't work either time. They had to switch Sparkle off of the Genji numerous times to other picks like the Tracer, the Reaper, the Doomfist, and they were never able to really materialize anything. I think it really speaks to more. Like, I still think Paris Eternal is a fantastic team, and I still think they had the capabilities of winning the series. I think it just speaks to how strong Philly's dive actually is.
Yeah, I think you saw Paris multiple times. They tried to like trim their risk, right? Pick safer heroes, go away from the Zen, go to
Loktar. Go forth to victory.
Dark Lady, what brings you here? We shall. Looking for something special? Blood and thunder. Go for. I am forsaken. Strength and honor. Go.
the final of this countdown cup between the Philadelphia Fusion and the San Francisco Shock is going to be one to remember. Don't touch the URL bar. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. We'll be back with the final right after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
T-Mobile and Sprint have merged. Now that Sprint is a part of T-Mobile, we have more towers, more engineers, and more coverage than ever before. This is not just a bigger network, it's a better one. And now you can get an awesome network at an amazing price. Welcome to T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network.
Welcome to the Overwatch League! The San Francisco Shock! That is ridiculous! Houston Outlaws look to push across the finish line.
Did you catch that? To be the best in the Overwatch League, you also need to be the fastest. You need timing, reflexes, you need speed. And in Overwatch, you're only as fast as your connection. Xfinity.
Oops.
The gamer-grade internet you need to dominate the competition.
I would describe Hearthstone as strategic, fun, interesting, addicting, amazing, action-packed, unpredictable. Play Hearthstone now.
Ancestors watch over you.
The Overwatch League has brought us together all around the world. Great things come in threes, and the three words on everybody's mind: most valuable player. These are your 10 Overwatch League MVP finalists, presented by T-Mobile. Alarm!
What is happening? Team kill comes through, just wipe the floor with him.
Carpe!
The Carpe comes out on top. The superstar player.
Joy Kilvin!
When he's on the map, nothing is impossible. For Hillman, no, that's the big one.
Violet! He's a god! He's a god! Yeah. Violet is actually a god! Wrong!
Wrong. That's bonkers.
That's a big time.
Consistency.
Super big time.
Eileen coming alive with the charge needed most. Eileen goes crazy in the back.
Fletter!
The headshot, at the headshot, at the headshot. What are you kidding me?
Void!
Boy turns up the heat. That is filth.
Exceed!
Exie finds a ping. Exie finds two. What a turn of events.
Yaki!
Yaki has just been an absolute machine.
The end of this season's journey is in sight, with players from every team battling for honor and glory, striving for greatness. We've seen stars rise to heights, unbelievable upsets, and the promise of victory teetering on the edge of a blade. 10 players have been deemed
What
worthy,
brings you
but
here?
only one can be chosen. The T-Mobile MVP is about more than just bragging rights. This season, T-Mobile put $100,000 on the line. The winner will be determined by you, the fans, along with Overwatch League casters, teams, and the media. T-Mobile wants you to vote for your MVP on Twitter by using the hashtag OWLMVP and tag your favorite player by their Twitter handle or in-game tag. You can also cast your vote by going to overwatchleague.com/MVP. Voting ends on August 28th. Cast your vote today. Answer the call and help decide which Overwatch League player will have their name etched into eternity. Which player will win the T-Mobile $100,000 MVP prize? Who will be your T-Mobile MVP?
Well met.
So the stage is set for our Countdown Cup North American Finals. It is going to be the Philadelphia Fusion taking on the San Francisco Shock. Welcome to Watchpoint Reset. I'm reinforced here with Costa, as well as Matt, directly from the caster booth. How happy are you on a scale of 1 to 10 to be here with me here with Costa?
7.
7?
Why did we lose 3 points?
I'm a 10 for the match. 7 for you guys.
Oh, that's so encouraging. As always, it's a pleasure.
It's above average. You're above average friends. That's what I would say.
That's a pass.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever praised me above average.
Alright, we're gonna try this.
That. At least I'm holding a
At least I'm honesty, Johnny.
Yeah, honesty is a good.
We might not make it.
So before we get to the finals, of course, we want to discuss what we just saw with the semifinal. It was the Paris Eternal taking on the Philadelphia Fusion, and I mean, after the game break, it was a bit of a stomp from the Philadelphia Fusion. What really happened in the second half, Matt, to just change things on its head?
I mean, I think
Thunderbluff.
we saw map 2, it was completely
then.
And I mean, when I was talking about it through the cast, and I think I saw you guys talking about it, I actually like what Paris decided to do after halftime. I actually think it was the right adjustment.
Oh, really? I can't imagine I'm gonna make it.
Compositions, like, you had your best chance of doing that. Because in the type of scenario where you're going up against this dive, you can at least charge the Zarya down, right? If you have speed and you have the Reinhardt and the Sigma, like the Zarya is not going anywhere. She's boots on the ground. Can't really get anywhere vertically. They still weren't able to capitalize on it. And then when I look at it and I see the Paris like switching a lot of different things up, things you never see them do. Put Sparkle on Tracer. Xy's going to McCree. They ran a Risa Zarya for
There's no way I make it.
That's when it was like, it seems like you're just kind of going in your bag searching for answers. And that's where I think Philly probably knew them. They kind of had them dead in the water.
Well, on that note then, Costa, with the Paris Eternal, in hindsight, do you think that there was anything about their play that was off, or do you think it was purely just a compositional difference? They just hadn't prepared the most optimal?
This is just too slow, and you're gonna go like this, and like this, and like this.
Plays the game like Philadelphia Fusion does. It's very
unless the boat is like pulling up.
So it just, they didn't come.
It's just not gonna happen.
And as Matt said, they were throwing everything at the wall and hoped something stuck, but nothing stuck. It literally just.
Well, I should be able to get Oni for sure.
The Fusion can play fast, and they can force you to play fast and loose, and then they can start taking advantage of their biggest strength, which is just the individual skill.
Mostly I want the run speed. It's
you
like,
look up and down the line,
all I really care about.
Like one-on-one, like all the players are just sick. Like they have the opportunity to turn fights on their own. When they can get you to play a little bit out of sync and not exactly fully on the teamwork, really structured, that's when this team thrives, right? Just make it chaotic, and that's where Philly can open it up.
I want to hit something as well. I think as soon as the mental game was broken, like when Sparkle made that first switch off of Genji when Genji should have been working, I think that was the moment that the mental was broken for Paris Eternal. Like that's the moment that Alarm is hitting every sleep.
Oh man,
that they're
every
just like,
sleep.
What do you do in that situation? And I think that was really rough for Paris to come back from.
Well, it ended pretty cleanly. It was the Philadelphia Fusion who won things 3-1, and that set us up for our Countdown Cup North American Finals between the San Francisco Shock and the Philadelphia Fusion. Let's take a look at the bracket. Of course, we've played all weekend. Tons of matches, Costa. Any standout favorites from you far? I feel like the level of play so far is
I mean, it could happen,
from most teams.
depending on the boat.
I just want to add, this still looks exactly like my bracket.
Well, hey, you know what? Me and Costa, we both I picked APAC completely correctly. I don't know about you, Costa. I'm one game away from running the table in NA as well.
For both? Oh, really? Because I had Chengdu beating Spark. But
see, I had Spark beating the Hunters, and I had New York beating Guangzhou.
Okay.
I had Seoul and Guangzhou, so I'm just
Johnny's
I'm taking on the host role full time.
Clearly the desk can't get up at 3 a.m. and watch the APAC games, sir. What I am.
It's with the morning coffee. So obviously, of course, in this tournament, there's a lot on the line as well. If you win the tournament, you get $50,000. Nice chunk of money. And also you get tournament wins, which add to your regular season record. Those are really going to come in handy as we go closer to the regular season playoff to bump up your seeding a little bit or help you qualify for the playoffs.
For some of these teams, the wins are almost more important than the money, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, being able to secure a higher seed well, it's a great scenario, right? You win money for this, and you get a higher seed to potentially make it easier to win even more money.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how valuable rest is before some of these matches, right? You get to take a look at your opponents, you get to prepare accordingly and stuff. So, of course, very valuable those wins. But I want to move on and take a look at the grand finals matchup now between the San Francisco Shock and the Philadelphia Fusion. Two franchises in the Overwatch League that has just been dominant since they got started, really. Obviously, 2018 San Francisco Shock, Matt, we don't really talk about that, but since then 2019 rock solid, and we've seen them win last year, of course. But Philadelphia Fusion, they made it to the grand finals in 2018, and they made it to several stages as well in the finals. This is a franchise that really just we cannot talk about enough because they've been so good for the past 3 years.
Well, what I love about the Philly just organization in general.
Our ancestors be praised.
Big old booger. Wait, what? That's Alliance? Oh. How weird is that? Huh. Actually, I'll just run. Try to kill these guys. I'll do this quest. Drops there too. I guess I'll do this quest. And I want to go to. I don't think of what it's called. I want to go here and do this shit. Some level 12s, 11, 12s and stuff. I want to go do that. I'm gonna go ahead and go do that.
Having it be a Ana, that's even better because they can set up Ivy these massive blades as well with the nano boost. Of course, they are going up against San Francisco Shop, just a ridiculous team to face realistically, and I thought there wasn't going to be a point where Shock weren't in the finals, except obviously last time around. In fact, not the main melee, the Summer Showdown, I was extremely surprised not to see Shock there. Of course, Paris didn't end up winning as Shock lost to Paris in semis, but Shock are never a team you should really sleep on, really ever. They may have one or two just games that look a bit meh, right, or maybe the tournament when they lose the semis, but they will always consistently be top 3.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of this is the performance from their damage dealers and the hit scan specifically. Of course, the starters on your screen coming up, it's going to be Ons. It just went nuts. You can't really even say anyone's a better Widow than Ons. Maybe people are on the same level. I doubt it. Striker has been a god-tier Tracer, an MVP candidate in Season 1, if you remember. His Tracer was that good. He carried Boston. Smurf, kind of maybe a snub from our MVP list because he's been playing main tank great. Choyobin, Finals MVP. You can't say enough about him. And then the support line of Violet and Twilight. I mean,
why do they all have bowl cuts? Like, what the fuck is with Asians and bowl cuts?
Moth and Super, who might see some playtime today, depending on how the maps.
Was that Koreans?
But there is not a single.
Might be a Korean thing.
San Francisco starters or roster or organization, really.
I think the only weak spot there is Fury's camera, which is very blurry. But I do promise you, he is there in some form. But Busan is going to be our first map. Of course, having Arns in and Hisu in makes a whole lot of sense for us to have a pause, apparently. But it makes a whole lot of sense for Arns and Hisu to be on the Widowmakers. And what better place to have it on Busan? We're actually heading to downtown as our first stage in this one as well. We are just briefly pausing, of course. We will hopefully get back into series rather soon.
Well, I mean, it is interesting because I think we're definitely going to see some Widowmaker, and Hisu has really stepped up to the plate. I thought we were going to get treated to the epic Carpe versus Ons Widow battle, but Hisu.
God, are they just going to talk about it this whole fucking time? Like, where's the action? Just gonna bail then.
A more dive-centric map, I feel. And as soon as I saw the people load into the lobby, I'm like, okay, so they want to definitely put Sado on Winston. They also want to put Serve on Winston because that just recently, even just looking at the semi-finals, it's just been ridiculous. The Primal Rage is insane. The amount of space that both Sado and Smurf are able to create for people like Striker and Arns is just awesome and ridiculous. Sado
slept.
Yeah, slept right out of the gate. Okay.
Well, Philadelphia's running something weird here. I mean, they've got the Reaper and a Genji. You don't see that together a whole lot. So running the shooty shotguns. More of a brawl style.
Sado's job here is actually just kind of sit on Arns too, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I feel. As soon as Arns manages to set up, Hisu can't really deal with him. It's going to be up to Ivy and Sado to do that. A little bit of a flank here from the Fusion, stopping the Shock running to their spawn and trying to touch the spawn game. Ends up going down first, though. Ivy picking up first blood. However, Shock end up capping the point. Hans is still sitting on a high ground, but not in the position he really wants to be. He's actually at the back of the point, but you can see even Ivy's kind of scared to actually peek him. There's that Violet and Twilight sitting around him as well. But Smurf coming back will, you know, delay the inevitable at this point. Hans does end up falling down, but Ivy falling next is not a good sign for the Fusion. They do manage to find the reflip, and in fact, a very early coalescence from Alarm to try and turn the tide to war. Even a nano boost being invested here by the Shock as well to try and get back onto this point. Please, Hero Sado, he's just so low. As soon as he hits the Primal Rage, though, he's going to get slept and grabbed as well. They're investing so much into Sado. He gets naded, but he's going to be able to get out alive. He had 1,000 HP. This fight is still going on. Another Graviton Surge is sent out, and Hisu cleans up the rest. Striker and Twilight fall, and the Fusion grasping on control of the point still. 30% in building. Shock may have taken that point first. Although I say that, Astro and Smurf end up finding boots. They're just going to go back in with the beat. Even the blade from Ivy. This fight hasn't stopped yet.
But the blade into the beat is great. When you're at low numbers like that, you know you need to protect your Genji. The bubble comes in huge again. Hans comes back on the tree. And now, well, if you're Sado, you might as well stall for some additional time. They eventually kill him. Oh my word, that was a good 60% fight almost. Just adding both of them together. Hans, I can imagine, is probably going to just stick on the Kree here to try and counteract Hisu, but wow, what a beginning engagement. I think you're going to see a lot of fights like that. This is an unstoppable force versus an immovable object because both these teams feel they can win when they're down heroes. Philadelphia has one of the highest win rates when they go down a person, and San Francisco, for some reason, can win 2v6 fights against every team in the league.
Speed boot Mr. Shoot shotguns into the back line. Gotta be careful for Striker. You can't poke as easily here because you can get punched by Hisu so easily. Coalescence along with the dive onto the back line. Arms and Striker are in trouble. Healing is just so great from the Coalescence, forcing everyone back. You can see them all piling up in that corridor now. Astro finds a boop as well in the midst of chaos, and Hisu sitting on with the Death Blossom. Arn's in trouble, and Hisu just playing doorman right now. Graviton Surge onto the point, but no follow-up, so Fury's going to stay alive, but not for long as Striker throws in the Pulse Bomb. It's still fairly even, but Philadelphia Fusion are going to be able to come out on top as Sado kills both tanks. Arn's is just going to go down as well. The Shock gained 65% there on that fight, and now the Fusion controlling again. They're going to match him in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia's support line is just much more conducive to running initiations than the San Francisco Rockets. San Francisco, a much more defensive support line, so you're seeing boosts in. And the big benefit you get from the Moira is being able to get Coalescence so quickly and fire and forget it and initiate with it. It's not a defensive ultimate necessarily for the supports, which a lot of them are. Rally comes in.
Yeah, Primal Rage used by Sado. They can use the Coal and the Blade. Might not be too bad at all. Sado gets slept too. Oh no, someone please help him. The Blade's going to come in as well as the Coalescence. Sado is going so low. He got anti-naded in that small room, so he couldn't even pick up the Mega Health Pack. The Blade didn't really get too much, but Fusion just need to buy time. Alarm and Sado do end up going down. It's now Hisu just to go back to his spawn. They kill off Arns, and Ivy is still fighting in the front line, but Twilight's got all the protection he needs, and a little bit of firepower as well as Ivy...
bring the torch of Eternal Flame to Colonel Fist and the Barons.
Well, Philadelphia does a good job there of just running it up to 96 and not burning all their turns. I think actually they're better off having Ivy not get that kill onto Twilight because I think that might have been the re-engagement kind of button there. But now Philadelphia's going to have Graviton, Barrier, and the Death Blossom here. Death Blossom is going to be difficult to get value out of with Shield Bash, with Sleep, and with the Flashbang. See if they can actually get something to work here. Grab in.
There's the grab. Oh, Hisu and Fury just melt joy. Oh, the Death Blossom in the front as well. That's 2 kills for Hisu. They claim the point. Oh, the Primal Rage from Smurf to try and bash everybody away. The flip comes through from the Fusion. Can anybody from the Shock touch? It's going to be one person at least to trigger OT, but can they get back? Yes, they can, but Smurf, with no Primal Rage left, isn't going to survive too long against Hisu. A Pulse Bomb gets thrown in as well, but even Hisu with a very aggressive TP forward. Arns with the High Noon to spread everybody from the point, but it doesn't matter. The Coalescence is going to help them finish this one off, and downtown belongs to the Fusion.
It's a really interesting composition from Philadelphia, and I think it's just really smart. They know that San Francisco wants to run dive, especially on control maps. When you see Smurf in, you know that the Winston's going to be there, and there's really no better counter to a Winston than having a Reaper of your own, the giant hitboxes, the straight brawl-up style, and then it's almost just like an old Soul Orb. Like, Winston's there, and you're just gaining health by plunking him away. A great style there, and Smurf, well, he straight up was not having a good time.
Yeah, it always kind of sucks when you're running into the Reaper because You end up going in the bubble, you're like, haha, I'm safe, and then Reaper just 2 shots the bubble almost, and then just kind of walks towards your face. Plus 1 headshot with the Hellfire shotguns really close up with all the pellets hitting, you almost die. So yeah, it can be rather punishing. Reaper also with the ability to escape too. Fusion still sticking with this comp, although they're running the Wrecking Ball this time around instead. A lot more
no
disruption
Widow either.
though.
It's gonna be Ivy versus Ons, but it's Genji versus Widow instead. But someone has to check Ons. You can't let him free fire.
Definitely not just gonna sit on him, I can imagine. Oh, or Sada's gonna do just that. Look at the protection though they're throwing onto Arns. They know if they keep him alive and give him the space, he can get the work done. One of the sharpest shooters, not only in the West, but just in Overwatch in general. Anton Sniper, he's got that name for a reason. Isu's already burned the rank form here, so he's gonna have to play a little bit more safe, and so does Astro. Arns was almost mid-air, it looked like there, and he hits a headshot. That's a good start. Dueling out with the Moira, not something you want to do unless you're behind a shield. Oh, Ivy may have taken out Violet, but it's all over. Like, Arns is on fire currently. He's warmed up in the semi-finals, and now he's clicking the heads. They claim control of the point first.
And it's not like Philadelphia doesn't know that this is coming, and they're sending people after it, but it's essentially Ivy and Sato trying to take down 6 people in the form of a sniper, because San Francisco's giving all the support in the world to Ons. These immortality fields are coming down. The Discord is going on ham as soon as he comes in. Everybody is playing around Ons. They understand that this map can be decided by a Widowmaker and a Widowmaker alone, and despite Philadelphia, oh my god!
Oh my god. Yep, well there it is. You reset. There's literally nothing you can do.
You don't have enough healing to do anything here. Like, you just don't.
Oh, strike him. Oh no, he's minus 1 HP. Someone please heal him. There we go, nice one. Okay, so you go for the reset again, but Ant's going to be able to get sights up here rather shortly, X.
Yeah, and now he's going to know when he's getting dived, and the rest of his team's just going to be there again, so it's absolutely no worries. Also, Striker out in front of him is a great move.
What? Solo was in the back line that entire time. 3 people surrounding Violet wasn't enough to actually save it. The power driver with the mine. Sado now just paying attention to Arns, or at least trying to. Now he has the protection that he really wants. Twilight unleashes the window, but he ends up going down. San Francisco Shock, it's okay to lose the point here, to be fair. You're up to 86% and a little bit more. Shock are more than happy with that. Coming into the next fight, they have Supercharger. They're going for the Flux too. Arns making a couple of switches though. It's changing over to the Kree now.
Okay, the McCree helps a lot against a Reaper and a Genji. Of course, Flashbang is something you think about a lot, but both of those heroes, I mean, you hit him with a single headshot, and then you're going to bait out deflect, you're going to bait out dash away, and also hitting a Reaper with a headshot, you can also bait out raid form. So, yes, Flashbang is good against those heroes, but single shots from Ons will also shut them down.
Really early coalescence here, but Sato actually went all the way into the back line and got instant. Immortality Field's already been used, and Choi just kills 2 people. Now they look at all the ults they have.
Okay.
They can just throw everything here in at once. They're gonna go for the flank, kill off Alarm as he's already used Fade. There's a bit of Stray Blade coming out from Ivy, ends up going down. Twilight Striker just fill up the kill feed, and Shock find the flip. 93% now for the Shock, and they still have not only a pulse bomb, but they have the Flux as well. It seems almost impossible now for them to lose this. Sato dies before he can even get to the point. Violet with the Discord Orb, a halt, a rock, and that was it. Arns just finished him off with a final shot, and they're going to tie up Busan.
Hi, we talk about how these are the best teams in North America.
to him. He's going to start clicking heads, and it's going to be up to Hisu to try and chunk him out from afar, but it's just the hardest thing to do with a McCree.
To get closer.
Philadelphia is giving Ons a ton of respect, and well-deserved, because they are just sitting behind pillars. No one is even peeking.
Just ring around the rosy Hex.
They can't get in, though.
I mean, they've got Lucio in Astro to try and charge forwards. There's the wall also. The Field gets used to try and save Smurf. It ends up going down, but they still manage to navigate themselves to the high ground without losing anybody. One big cooldown down. Oh, a headshot onto Arns, and Hisu finishes it up. The Coalescence is going to be good as well to end this fight. That's what they really needed. This bunker strategy from the shot, just protecting the President Arns. It was only going to work for so long. As soon as Fusion gets ults online, yeah, speed boost, Coalescence, and then Ivy going for the flank. They managed to cap the point as well, but Shock with not a bad time at all. 47% already built up.
Well, at some point with a Lucio, they were going to catch up to them. Ivy was able to put down a nice wall, and it forced everybody to stay around to try to keep the tanks alive. And then after that, a nice icicle headshot and a cleanup onto Ons. And with the raid boss down, Philadelphia boosts in and cleans it up. Striker going down early. That's a loss you can afford to take and still try to push in.
He's
back momentarily.
On the flank alone. Can't hear Striker. That's of course Striker's crouching, but obviously we can see as we do have X-ray vision. It's a window open fairly early, however, it's just going to get walled off, and both the tanks are in trouble. Break the pillars, you should be okay. Still using that window to good effect, however the Blizzard is going to come through, matching with the Transcendence. A big shadow in the front, that Transcendence is going to run out sometime shortly. A huge pin onto Arns. That was just a pure flowchart there, just waiting for that Blizzard to come out, and then they trans, and then guess what? We got a shadow to follow up. Normally it's pretty tough, you know, we're going against double shields, but Sano makes it work still. He does end up going down himself, but Astro can taxi him back with the Lucio.
Alright, so double shields, different variations on both sides for San Francisco. They're going to be running in Orisa. Philadelphia is, of course, on the Reinhardt. It allows them to rotate and try to cover the double shield entrances a little bit easier. Philadelphia also with a little bit better shield crack, but not by much.
Oh, Hisu missed! Hisu missed! He's going to die to flames! Oh, he does. He dies to the Dynamite. They end up trading, however, in an early flux from Fury to kill off Choi. Philadelphia Fusion still in a good position. And 80% on the board as well, Hex. So Shock's going to get to come back and answer switch over to the Emergency Widow. He needs one pick in this fight, and it could be all theirs.
Double support ults, though, for Philadelphia. They have been holding
that's
on
not good.
What a rock!
Oh, well, Alexis is going to come out farther soon as well. In fact, all support ultimates have been thrown in. Arns manages to snipe alarm. Coalescence not available anymore, but Hisu manages to take him out. He's on the flank this whole time. The High Noon has been used. He's got the rock, and Hisu, God, on the sidelines, takes the 2v1, and the Philadelphia Fusion will go one map up in the series.
Hisu takes a bit of a siesta at the end of that one. Well earned. He took the nameplate off. You would think that was Carpe. That is the depth of the Philadelphia Fusion team that they've waited all year to be able to flex on the different compositions. And, you know, Philadelphia, it looked not great early on because they were just playing so close together behind shields constantly until they were able to finally close the distance, take Ons out of the fight. Hisu and Ivy showed up big there, and it's just the support ults at the end to save them from the flux to make sure they can close it out with Coalescence.
I mean, that was the one pick that they needed. I said Arns needed something. Alarm pops Cole, and Arns pops Alarm's head, and it was like, wow, this is perfect. And now you only have Lucio. The beat came through, and then Hisu just 2v1s. Not only kills Arns, who was on the flank of his life, but then kills off the Sigma too. What more can you ask for from your McCree, really? We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. We've got map number 2 on your screen soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Deets nuts? Hey, Chris, how Deets nuts taste? Are they delicious? What a fun snack. Deets and Watson. Deets nuts.
T-Mobile and Sprint have merged, and T-Mobile has a bigger and better network than ever before, with more towers, more engineers, and more coverage. Welcome to T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network.
You are so fucking dumb. You do get it. Like.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury, with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back. Map number 2 is going to be Kings Row, and a couple of swap-ups for the San Francisco Shock. You know, you can do that if you're the Shock, Hex. Just sub out a few godlike players and just have a couple more come in. We got Rascal, we got Super coming in, and we got Moth.
Speak, friend.
Yeah, Super and Moth, role stars from last year in their respective roles. Of course, Moth was known for his Lucio, also very good Mercy. Probably coming in to play the Brigitte here, although I could see some Lucio considering they are bringing Super, their Reinhardt specialist, in. Kind of zoom the Rhine in, just start slamming away at the hammer. And then Rascal, an MVP candidate in his own right, had he played a little more consistently this year, he's going to come in, which makes me think they want to run the Genji. Kings Row is a great map for both of these teams. Both of these teams have only lost once this year on Kings Row. The San Francisco Shock have accumulated 8 wins, whereas Philadelphia has accumulated 5. This is obviously the San Francisco Shock's map pick, and it is no surprise going to Kings, where they kind of have just their own brand of Overwatch.
Yeah, I like the fact they're keeping Arns in as well, because Widowmaker can be so effective, especially going into like last point, first point as well.
4 silver.
Nice little, not even a little
Yeah, you're losing money by making bandages. Like, I don't understand. I thought it was the opposite.
Sitting there, hey, you can just start clicking heads, right? I like the fact that they're bringing Rascal in too for the Genji. It's been quite interesting with the Shock over the last couple of weeks, where they haven't always played the Genji. They've obviously played Striker with the Tracer, and I always thought in the back of my head, if your team is got a good Tracer on your lineup, and I think a lot of teams do currently have, I think it's always been kind of worthwhile, if your Genji isn't great, just to put him on Tracer instead, because it does aid a little bit more to the backline damage, and you can, if the enemy team is running a Zen, it's much easier to wonk with a Zen than it is a Moira, for example, or the Brig, and you can kind of win the fight from there, rather than running like a mediocre Genji. Although, of course, Rascal, not mediocre in any sense of the word. It's been just interesting to see how Shock have dealt with this meta and them playing to their strengths. So, just a small thing to think about.
Rascal almost deadlifted on Hanamura. I mean, that's how good his Genji was there. So, I mean, I wouldn't sleep on the Genji. Also, it really helps out that if you do end up losing the long-range hit scan battle, whether that's Widow versus Ashe or Ashe versus Ashe, that you still have an option to get up there. I agree with you that, I mean, I want to run Tracer on every map, no matter the situation, but given the verticality on most of the parts of Kings Row, even just small ledges, trying to get a Tracer to deal with Ashe or Widow just takes too long. And you kind of need the Genji there for the deflect, for the long-range damage that you can put in and kind of check them as well. So I think it's a good pick, and also it allows you to maybe run a Mei if you get a pretty good first hold on Archway. Mei can be devastating in that situation, which I think is why Ivy's also staying in the game. So very similar styles for both of these squads as we come out the game.
You wish to speak?
Oh, they're going to do the wall TP.
May the eternal sun shine upon us.
Super high.
No wall TP.
Winds
Yeah, so
be
they
at your
obviously
back.
saw the fusion there, so
Walk
they were
with
trying to
me,
set up the wall TP, but you don't want to just jump into the fusion, otherwise your TP is going to get destroyed, and there's going to be like 2 people across. So it's all about the walls here from Rascal and Ivy. Depends if they want to drop. Okay, they do actually decide to drop here, and this is going to be a good position for Rascal to actually be in. A funny Astral already goes down. Oh my god, this is going to be a roll now. Yeah, there's actually nothing you can do. Alarm.
It's brutal.
To reload. He's going to block as well and stop all that heals coming through. There is no way if you're the fusion, if you make it back into this one, unless Sado hits something actually crazy, but it's looking rather unlikely.
If they can touch.
Maybe a third. Nope. No touch. What a quick point A from Shock there.
Well, I mean, it was Alarm won his 1v1 against Rascal up top, which I thought might be the swing back, but they were just so low that you don't want to put your Reinhardt on the point in that scenario.
I want to get here soon.
Because San Francisco Shock, once they get rolling, are just unstoppable.
I should start getting wool. Fucking A at like 20.
San Francisco just roll through the streets phase on you. You want to be able to at least get a single fight here, and had they fought there, they'd be in a big trouble.
Wow. Okay. 3-man gang squad there at the top. They use the wall a little bit more defensively. They're low right on the payload. Oh, Ivy. If he manages to get Super here, it's going to be good. He does manage to freeze him, and Rascal does end up going down. They're kind of split, but this Coalescence is actually doing a lot of work. Sado's got the Shadow still, and they can now play this Arch, or at least try to. Rascal, of course, not being alive, and Ivy just existing is good enough. Moth ends up dying to the Venom Mine of all things, but it should be okay for the time being. The Fusion are going to get fluxed, and holding the corner is going to be good, but Super with the perfect charge to finish off Sado, and now they just control the payload. Shock somehow again winning these fights, even though a key player in pushing the cart through the streets, the May, ends up going down first. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was a nice trade because they're able to take out Hisu during that fight. Yes, Hisu got a Venom Mine kill and a Moth. I'm sure his teammates won't let him live that one down. But that means that Ons doesn't have to worry about about anything at all. And Philadelphia is going to have to always play around those sightlines. They have to back up. San Francisco just continues to push over them. And now Rascal is going to have the Blizzard ready. Both teams exchanging the Infrasights.
Yeah, I don't know if that Infrasights really worked because they were trying to set up something on the flank. Of course, the payload will be contested a couple of meters before it hits. There's going to be a beat available for Money Astro now. They're going to go on this flank anyway. They don't really care at all. A charge from Sado to try and get out alive. He's already dies. There's the Blizzard insta-kill onto Sado 2. The Flux might have been good if they could take down the tanks, but Super is alive and well on this payload. What a ridiculous time now for the Shock to push up this last point. 5 whole minutes. They haven't got too much left to really work with, and Philadelphia Fusion, on the other hand, do. They got Blizzard coming up, they got the Shadow Beat and the Coalescence. Even Hisu switching over to a more brawl style. He is losing these 1v1s against Arn's Hex, so not too much of a shock here.
Well, now, the biggest issue right now is that Philadelphia has absolutely no one to touch Ons. No one has high ground, no one can do anything, unless you want to send your Lucio after it, which is not usually a great idea. Great wall, though.
Well, their sense of urgency pretty high there, and they do make themselves known on the payload. A perfect pin onto Super. Just escorting him away from the rest of his team. And a Coalescence as well is going to kill off Violet. That was really nice wraparound there from the Fusion. They saw how Shock were playing, and they keep doing this. The Shock will split up with 3 by 3. 3 on the payload, and 3 go for this flank, and Fusion go, okay, if we have Lucio, we're going to speed boost onto the point, wall your Sigma, and then he's going to instantly die.
Yeah, the only bad thing for Philadelphia is they ended up layering support ultimates over each other, but it does allow them to hold this corner. The last place to fight before last point, but still, Ons is going to be a problem.
Yeah, that was a very close. Him just getting instantly killed. Oh, that Coalescence is doing so much work, actually. Sado is going so low. You can see the pressure, actually. He might not even survive this. The Coalescence did the damage, and there you go. A hammer swing, instantly killing off Sado. Alarm's going to fall down as well. They're going to hit the Shatter. Fury goes down. It could be big. He has this Flux coming back, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to even touch the payload. Funny Astro finds the boop onto Rascal, but they still have 5 people pushing it. The Blizzard from Rascal as he comes back is going to be good. A big boop as well, and Astro ends up going down into the pit. Moth the better Lucio in this situation. And Lance has got free reign over this point as well on the Widowmaker. Choi kills off Sado, and it's only a couple of meters before they land it in on 3rd point, and Ivy's dead too. Arns is setting up. He's got so much space, it's disgusting. Alarm's gonna go down as well. And Hisu gets headshot when he uses the Death Blossom. That's the only thing he can really do to turn the tides. 3 minutes in the time bank for the Shock as they complete King's Row.
Just once the Shock gets rolling, it is impossible to stop them. And even when you think you've stabilized, if they have 3 people up, they will commit ultimates. They will go after you. And I think no matter what, like, I think Philadelphia made those switches compositionally to go to the Reaper because, like, look, we can't stop the front line and Ons at the same time. We got to decide to try to stop one, and then hopefully Ons can't be impactful if he doesn't have the front line up, because then our tanks will have shields up. So they chose to try to win the front line battle. It didn't necessarily work out, and Ons was all alone, just clicking heads, doing whatever he wanted. Ivy goes down at 90% on his Blizzard, which is a saving grace defensive ultimate.
See, this is the thing, right? You have Hisu. Oh, he double headshot as well. Okay. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Like, this is the thing. Who can test Arns in this situation? Is it Ivy with the right clicks with the May icicles? Is it Hisu who can get a TP up? Well, neither of them really. I mean, you need to focus on the frontline wall because your tanks just get rolled over. The best thing about the May is the fact that she can put up a wall. Your Reinhardt can start swinging in, maybe go for a charge. Also there to break shields. Like you mentioned, Hex, pure brawl in the front line. But Arns,
they're banking on winning the front line. Yeah, they made the call that they weren't going to win the Widow battle, and you're not going to win it when Arns is hitting 50% of his crit shots. 1 out of every 2 shots was a headshot from Arns.
He's too good at a video game. He's too good. Rather short player history as well.
Hey, Echo! I predicted Echo. I'm trying to make Echo a thing so I can stop playing Genjis in every ranked game.
Just you. It's just Hex.
Just me.
That's it. It's just Hex. He's forcing,
No, but actually,
forcing the Echo.
I talked about this on the pre-show that Rascal does have the Echo. We've seen a little bit of Echo in APAC, and I mean on Lijiang Tower we see it a little bit too. It can be pretty solid, especially if the other team's not going to run hit scan. Why not? It can be good against the Genji. It's another beam he can't deflect.
You can potentially go for a hack, but it is very hard for that to happen. You could just kind of shift away. Plus, you're just hard to kind of follow up. What do I say that? Look at this! Look at this flank! There's the hack. So you're talking about the shift to fly away. He does just that, and he's going to be able to glide back down. And Arns on the with the Ash will take out Ivy as well. So it's a 2-man flank from Hisu on Sado to try and take out Rascal. They do not succeed, and then they end up losing someone as well. And another one. The Sisu goes down too. So again, it's who contests Arns, but then it's 2 different directions, right? You got to contest Arns, but then Rascal's always up in the skies too. He's 60% towards an ult as well, Hex.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to Ivy, but it was Arns who took down Ivy in the previous fight. So Ivy's going to have to be able to get up there, but you want to be able to get Hisu up there and Ivy to dive him once he's hacked, because Coach Gun could be a great disengage.
Okay, they have Nano. They're not just going to jump onto... Okay, so they can jump on the supports. There's still a shield, and there's still a lot of damage there. An alarm ends up going down to Arns. However, they take out Super, so a lot less staying power now available. Sado goes extraordinarily low as he's found Arns Sniper once again in the corner. Nothing you can do. He even gets hacked. He actually made up on the high ground anyway. A late Transcendence from Violet might be good enough, and Rascal actually earns himself an EMP in the chaos of it all. He doesn't manage to get it off in time. Everybody crashes back down to Earth as that flux from Troy was not followed up upon. The Philadelphia Fusion gaining 2 ticks and a 3rd here as well as they get this payload moving through King's Row.
Yeah, well, that's the answer to the Arns question as well, is you just nano your Winston and let him do the diving for your team, because even if everyone gets away, everyone's going to be chunked down so bad, and he did a great job of pushing them out into the open where the rest of his team can follow up and get the kills that they need. I mean, with the Zarya and the Winston's going to be completely safe, and then Fury on the cleanup at the bottom there. He's earned himself a Graviton Surge, grab into... well, EMP into grab, whatever way you want to work it here. Money Astro
into the stratosphere. He's got that rally as well. Just enabling the rally on that point is just so massive. Well, we're in a team fight. That's huge. 6-man EMP with a bio grenade on top, I believe, as well. That landed onto Super there. That will be second point, almost guaranteed. There's quite a lot of space they need to actually cover still, as there was only 1 person on the payload, although now rounding this second to last corner, they should be open.
Well, I love this conversation from Philly, because it's really smart to play to your advantages. And when you look at San Francisco, you say, like, everybody's really good, but I think their 2 advantages are they have a better Sombra, because Sombra has been mediocre at best, and they have a better flex support.
Okay, Violet was just on the side. He gets solo grabbed. And now you've got almost nothing on the point. Alarm gets dragged back in though. That supercharger on the Bob did so much work. Bob definitely one of the best things to actually contest the payload. It getting supercharged as well does a surprising amount of damage. Arns is able to clean that up with the help of his Bob, and now they can hold this this point here. That looks so good because they managed to kill off Violet, who was on this weird flank with the solo grab. Like, it's not normally a bad thing. If you can get a support and even like maybe force out a defensive tool like the Nano one, like the Immortality Field, it could be a pretty good trade, but they weren't able to make it stick as that supercharger was there in response.
Yeah, Super Bob can be very, very good, and it's only fitting considering his exit animation looks like the Iron Giant flying away. Ivy's going to have the blade for this next fight, looking for individual hacks up top. Hacking Baptiste is really good if you get it.
Oh, there's the nano, there's the blade. Immortality Field's not out just yet, and Ivy kills 2. Oh, that'll be another one as well, as Super's just fending for his life on this payload. Immortality Field, I don't think it even came out in the end. Moth was just distracted by Houston that entire time. If he turns his back and tries to get the ammo field out, hey, good luck. You're going to get hacked, or you're just going to get straight up killed. The Fusion, a little less time in the bank coming into this third point. They still have 3 minutes though, so a couple of fights at least.
Still solid, and they can win a fight just with an EMP here. The defenders, as long as they're not grouped up. But I mean, defense it's a little harder to get an attacking EMP off because defense is going to be spread out a little bit. You're going to have supports on a high ground, supports a little further away. So I think you can't be greedy and go for a giant 6-man EMP again, but just find 2 or 3 priority targets.
Ivy is
playing with
he has
fire
no deflect
right now.
either. Shadow's going to help him as he jumps into the Mega Pack room. That Mega Health Pack's actually been hacked as well, so that's a lot less ground that people like Rascal can actually play around. And it does enable Sado to kind of stick in this room almost permanently. So a lot of healing, more HPS than a Mercy team, so worth keeping in mind. EMP for Hisu, looking for a manual hack, he jumps straight in. That's a 5-man EMP as well. That rally from Violet is going to be good, but the arm is just not going to be able to build up in time. He's running away from the rest of his team, trying to get out alive. Hisu with the translocator to get out of danger. Rascal ends up going down, and like you just predicted, Hex, Fusion just winning this team fight off this EMP.
Absolutely enormous, and now they've got 2 of their tank ultimates about to come online in Nanoblade, ready to go. The anti-heals have been huge from Alarm.
Oh, there is so much. And they take almost 0 damage as well as they come back down. Nano Blade in the back. Oh, the Immortality Field was good, but Moth got booped out of it. Ivy jumps into the grab, finds another 2 kills, and now his Arn's on the point. Can't find anything. Killed Sado, but the grenade finished him off. And the Fusion, they're going to cap point C with 1 minute and 44 remaining. We're going to some additional rounds.
Overall, I think that Philadelphia is really smart playing to their strengths of running the Genji, running the Sombra. They
That was my chair. I think my chair smells like balls permanently.
Hisu Sombra has been very solid for them.
Some Febreze.
And Ans, I think, just does not like
I just
playing
shouted.
that much. I said better flex support. Maybe a misspeaking there. Alarm's Ana, I think, is actually just amazing, especially if Twilight's not in the game. Violet's good on everything else, but I think Alarm's Ana has proven time and again to be the best part of the Philadelphia Fusion. Now, a minute difference, and that's actually pretty big. That is 1 more attempt, and it also allows you to make sure you get every ultimate up. 144 is the cusp of like most ultimates. Some of the faster charging ones especially. You can get a Transcendence maybe. You could definitely get Nano in that instance. But San Francisco is going to have a much better push when they turn around on offense because they can just wait for it to all come through.
There were so many hype support players coming into the season. Alarm, definitely one of them. Of course, he did play on BK Stars way back when in Apex Season 1. He actually played tank at that time with Twilight on the roster too. So there's a fun little fact.
For Mage Royal, I'll go.
Facing one of his very, very old teammates, and Alarm being on the Fusion University,
What do you know?
also alongside people like Snillo. It was only a matter of time before people like him and Astro were going to make it to the league, and you can see exactly why the Fusion wanted to keep him, or the Philly organization wanted to keep him when he puts up performances like that.
Well, this is another reason that Rascal gets to play, is his versatility. He's going to be playing Sombra from San Francisco Shock on their defense. Individual hack can be enormous. They get Ivy hacked. He lives through it.
Big wraparound. I do always like these 2-pronged attacks though from the Shock. Just playing also split, so a little less value from people like Sado and Ivy who love to kind of just cleave people and earn ults. Although it's a bit easier for Hisu because he can kind of isolate one target or just kind of sit there and spam a tank until he gets ult. They're very slow though.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is designed for Philadelphia to make sure they can clear out the high ground.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're just waiting for a hack. Hisu's literally sitting here. He is passively gaining ult charge. A snail's pace, unfortunately, as he's not gone in to do really any damage. Okay, there's the hack. He landed onto the brink, but I think he actually got interrupted, but it didn't matter. But they do trade supports as Llama also ends up falling. Astro needs to get to with the rest of his team at this point to heal them all up. Although with Moth being surrounded and no immortality field available, Sado and Ivy just executing the perfect
Flame Tongue scales.
Answers up onto the high ground, and this split approach from the Shock, I do really
With
like it, but the problem is, if
spell
you can't
power.
use the space, they're going to take a whole bunch of it. Arns at least kills 2 people on the retreat. However, the Fusion are still going to be able to at least gain a tick here.
The initial dive on a Violet was absolutely a thing of beauty. To be waiting back there as long as he was, even if the hack was interrupted, the dive and the damage that came through on him so quickly.
Okay, they hacked Astro. Now we have Rascal nearing the EMP of his own. He's got 5% away. Here comes the Bob. It got launched into Neverland. Actually,
Bob, do something.
Arista manages to find a kill as well. Arns' Bob is doing so much work already. The Nano is not going to be available for that blade. Ivy just jumped straight in. He's just built up an EMP, but it's way too late. 1 minute and 44 was in the time bank Hex, and Hisu only just gets the EMP. They were trying to set up this dive for this entire time, and I literally said it a second ago, a snail's pace actually building it up because he's not doing damage.
No, wasn't doing anything, just playing a little bit afraid because you're banking all in on that EMP, and the only way to charge EMP slower is to be dead. But you still have to take some chances there. Maybe go for individual hacks. I don't know if maybe his translocate was in a bad spot that would have put him at risk of getting killed, but I think teams still have not learned that San Francisco is always in a fight. They're always in a fight until you hear the team kill horn. And even then, somehow, I don't know how they pull those back. But they just are able to wait it out. They get EMP faster. The Bob is an extra person on the point. They're able to tap toes onto the point with Super, and eventually just overwhelm Philadelphia, who was in a good spot there, but never getting the EMP is brutal because, I mentioned at 144, one of the ults you expect to get up in a 144 fight is your EMP, and the fact it never came is a little bit tough for Philadelphia.
Yeah, extraordinarily tough. And mind you, Hex, I want to say that ball wasn't even on the point. Like, he was actually on the statue, creating the perfect flank.
What now?
You're having to touch the point, of course, because you
Watch
don't want
your
to take down. And you got Bob shooting you in the back. You got Super holding them one. Shock now at 3 minutes to capture about 85% of this first point. This is one fight here, so okay, Rascal jumping over to the men. They just need one Blizzard, ideally. Or an Arms, I think, is just going to be sticking on this Widowmaker. Yeah. Because again, you just need one pick. That's really what you need to make an incision.
With 3 minutes, you can wait for all of your ultimates, or you can play it slow, or you can go brawl and hope that Ans ends up getting a pick and just opens it up for you. San Francisco really doesn't lose 6v5 fights. Or eventually you can just wait for Blizzard. Nice anti-heal, but they're all in safe quarters.
There's a high ground you can splash off. Okay, now they push him on the payload. Perfect flank as well, because Arns is actually just sitting in the spawn, so he can just take pot shots at people that are contesting. Sado's going to go sky high. Told you, just there. Arns is taking the flank, or look, not really a flank, you're just playing it straight up, and now they're going to be able to secure a tick. The Philadelphia Fusion have lost a DPS and a tank and Fury now as Arns is on the ground. Ivy tries to take him out, but the support that they are giving him is just ridiculous. There's not really much he can do now. Astro scurrying for cover, and the coalescence from Violet is going to make sure they're punished for every single step that they take on this point. Even a boop on Desado out of the bubble. Headshot by Arns again. And the Shock are going to complete map 2 and tie the series up 1 apiece.
Well, San Francisco and Kings Row name a more iconic duo. They are now 9-1 on the season, and this map looks custom made for them. Able to run the old Zarya and Reinhardt composition with a super aggressive Reinhardt. Opens up all the space in the world for your ace sniper. Rascal, jack of all trades, plays everything. It's just a perfect map for them. It allows Moth to play Lucio. It plays to their strengths so well. Philadelphia had a nice first offense, but their second offense left a little something to be desired. But that's San Francisco's map pick. You expect them to win that one. We have ourselves a series and a half here, living up to the hype so far, guys.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the full distance again. I really do hope it does. We're going to jump to a quick break. Watch Point is going to break down the series so far. We'll see.
Is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
Uh-oh. This is bad.
Welcome to the Overwatch League, the San Francisco Shock. That is ridiculous. Look to push across the finish line.
Catch that? To be the best in the Overwatch League, you also need to be the fastest. You need timing, reflexes. You need
I haven't
speed.
got all day.
And in Overwatch, you're only as fast as your connection.
time.
Xfinity X-Fi, the gamer-grade internet you need to dominate the competition.
T-Mobile and Sprint have merged, and T-Mobile has a bigger and better network than ever before, with more towers, more engineers, and more coverage. Welcome to T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network.
I would describe Hearthstone as strategic, casual, fun, interesting, addicting, amazing, action-packed, unpredictable. Play Hearthstone now.
Welcome to the finals game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. It's me, he reinforced here with Costa and Matt, Mr. X. Wow, what a series so far. Tied one apiece, and we've seen a lot of different looks from both teams so far. I think we dived straight into map 1.
Yeah.
Came out on Busan. And I want to talk about this Reaper composition, right? Because we've talked about the Philadelphia Fusion, how they up the tempo of the game, they play a lot of dive, but they bring in the Reaper, Costa. What is your synopsis on this composition? Why do you think they brought out the Reaper with the Lucian Moira?
I think the Reaper is really interesting at shutting down the way that the San Francisco Shock want to move around the map, right? They have someone just waiting with open arms every time Smurf tries to jump at them, and it worked to a degree, but I think at certain points, you really got to give more respect to Arns, who has the potential to just kill your entire team, and we saw more of that in King's Row. But I actually really like the adaptation. I just want to see them having the ability to get off of it when the time comes.
Yeah, they learned about ignoring Ons in map number 2, right? You know, we saw that a big way. I think you can make what they did with the Reaper, though, I kind of liked in map number 1. They were able to rush down Smurf when he was trying to play the Winston in certain scenarios and really made them pay for it at times.
Yeah, and that was a key point, I think, for me as well as a tank player. Just, we talked about so much, right? How Smurf is a fantastic main tank player, especially on that Winston. And now playing the Reaper with the Lucian Moira, you can really chase down that Winston. So, you know, that might be another strategy that Philadelphia Fusion are bringing out. But Fusion takes map 1. We head over to King's Row. I mean, this is just the home of the San Francisco Shock, right? They bring in Super, they bring in Moth, they play this brawl composition that Sideshow loves so very much. Talk us through a little bit how they're playing this brawl composition to the maximum and how they're able to shut down the Fusion's dive.
Scott does it the best. Do your speed boost line, Scott, where you go speed boost, right? Yep, there you go. Yep, they put in super, they go speed boost, and then they run on in. No, but the biggest thing for map 2 was not even their like brawly style, was the fact that Ons was able to just sit up on the high ground and free fire on Ashe or Widowmaker the entire game. You know, I've gone up against you, Johnny, in the Widowmaker battle, and I've beaten you, and I'm pretty sure, that you would be able to hit some of these shots as well.
How many times have you won Telling
I'm undefeated. It doesn't really matter what my record is.
No,
to be
you're not
honest.
undefeated.
Yeah,
Costa, help us out here. Guide us towards it. We got finals matchup, and we got King's Row. What really happened? Give us the analysis.
I think that you can't be too dejected if you're the Philadelphia Fusion right now. I think this is San Francisco Shock's map, especially when they put in Super, they put in Moth, the way they move around the map. With Arns on the Widow, they just seem to move for free, and if you try and deal with Super, you die to Arns. If you try and go for Arns, Super just kills everybody. There's no middle ground. I think you just don't get dejected from your Winston Zarya dive. Make sure you keep going, and then don't think about that map, because I don't think there's another map in the map pool that really has that level of synergy for that composition.
Yeah, I agree, and I think if you're the Philadelphia Fusion, you stick to your guns for at least another map. You have a map pick that you can choose now. You take that map pick, you keep Hisu and Ivy in the game, you run this dive again. If it doesn't work there, then maybe you consider changing after that.
Alright, so for our crunch time presented by Cheez-It Grooves, there's one player in specific we want to talk about, and it is Ans from the San Francisco Shock. All three of us feel like this player is really the main player to look out for in this matchup, and is deciding a lot of the tactics and the strategy so far. Ans obviously a big impact player on this Widowmaker. How do you really play around him if you are the Fusion here, Costa?
I think you need to get the dive working. I don't think I really don't want to see them sub in Carpe. I don't want to see them take a head-to-head duel. We saw them play a little bit of Reinhardt on King's Row. I think you need to find a way to enable Sato to get on top of her, or at least give Hisu and Ivy space so that they can get on top of him. If you just leave him to his own free will, it's not going to work. We saw the Florida Mayhem really give them a run for their money at certain times by doing the same thing. So I want to see the Philadelphia Fusion pull it off.
See, I don't hate bringing in Carpe to deal with this.
Really?
And I think, yeah, I mean, I want to see them try the dive yet again, but I think if you bring in Carpe to play the Widow and you can at least like neutralize Ons, like he probably goes to what, Ashe or Sombra in that type of situation. You can, the biggest advantage would be as long as it really comes down to Rascal for me. If they keep Rascal in the game, I think it's probably something you'd rather deal with dive. If they put in Striker, I think you can match with Carpe because you'll have an advantage in terms of Ashe Genji versus Ashe Tracer. I mean, I don't know what your guys' opinion is. I think Ashe Genji is way more powerful than the Tracer comp.
I actually think you could match with Carpe, but I would rather do it later down in the series, because I feel like if you're really feeling the momentum of the dive with the Genji and Sombra, you can try to pull that off, right? But then if you go into a situation where maybe Shock have 3 maps won already and walk away from losing, maybe then you carry and you bring in Carpe. Do you agree with that, Costa? What's your thoughts?
I think the caveat that you guys are understating is you're assuming that Carpe can take it to Ons. Like, Carpe is phenomenal, right?
That's a Hail Mary, you know?
God damn it.
Ons is on fire. He is on a different level. He's playing at such a phenomenal level, and even he couldn't take Ons down. Like, I really think it needs to be on top of the dive and not going and just
I don't think he needs to take it to I don't think he needs to take it to Ons. I think he just needs to keep him honest and at least show a Widow on the other side, something that'll make him pay.
Do they win everything else now? But like, yeah, they can shut down Ons, but then you all of a sudden you have to control the rest.
I think Genji versus Traper and the rest you're in a better spot too, yeah.
Alright, well there you have it. We're about to head into the second half, so let's start it over to our casters. It's going to be Jaws and Hex.
The Overwatch League is brought
You just hanging out?
Cheez-It
Yeah,
Crunch.
okay.
Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
describe Hearthstone as strategic, casual, fun, interesting, addicting, amazing, action, unpredictable, completely out of the ordinary and unexpected. I couldn't be happier than just sitting hours playing. There's just always a different outcome. Casual replayability. Play Hearthstone now.
Let Hearthstone milk you for all your money now.
Welcome back. This is Shock versus the Fusion Grand Finals of the Countdown Cup. Hex, we're about to jump into Temple of Anubis.
Yeah, Temple of Anubis is going to be the pick of the Philadelphia Fusion. Obviously, you don't want to take San Francisco Shock to Hanamura. I think teams have learned their lesson. San Francisco is undefeated on Hanamura at 11-0. However, Philadelphia has a very good record on the Temple of Anubis. They are 5-0. San Francisco, I believe, rocking a 1-1 record. And we have some substitutions coming in here.
Oh, shit.
Twilight will come in.
Oh, shit.
So they want to run maybe Bat Pig, something like that, or anything. You could even run a Zen in this situation. Zen has been crushing on this map. And yeah, I think that's... And then Striker and Rascal will be the damage dealers, yeah.
Striker, Rascal, damage dealers this time around, so Arn's taking the back.
God damn it.
And Surf as well in for Super. So almost the same lineup as we had on Control. They're shocked to see not Arn's but they want to go they want to have Rascal on the game first, because there's so many ways on defense. There's a lot of ways you can like push very far up and be rather safe, especially if people go to.
How do you get her to spawn is the question.
Attackers point, you go to the left hand side, there's the mega pack room, that's where most of the attackers end up going, and then in there the Genji can just hide up in the rafters doing his best Batman impression, or like Prince of Persia, just kind of throwing shurikens at people, you know, from the ceiling, and you can earn your blade so fast.
Well, this is the most versatile DPS lineup that San Francisco can put out, right? Because you mentioned like On's not being in there, but Striker in his own right is a very, very good Widow, very, very good Ashe, and also he's just got a superior switch on, so it just allows that versatility. Obviously, we know what Cass can do. My biggest question for Philadelphia, I was kind of musing on, is because Hisu's been okay on the Sombra in the last couple of weeks. Even on the last map, he got like a couple 6-man EMPs, it was looking good, and then the blunder on the offense. But going back into the beginning of the season, he has a very inconsistent Sombra, so it's... I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's a question mark. It's something to keep an eye on as we go forward, because I think Philadelphia really is this Genji Sombra gameplay. We'll see what San Francisco wants to run, but it's just something to note is that his Sombra has been, well, wildly inconsistent, I think it's fair to say.
Well, he's going to go against Rascal. I mean, Striker's as we see the Shock roll out on the defense.
Yeah,
this is dive-centric.
This is San Francisco's best Genji Sombra combination, easily.
I want to see how they're going to play the Winston here, because if you would kind of expect Fusion to do the same kind of thing, which currently they are, it's going to be a straight mirror. Hisu wants to switch like that's how he does. Anyway, he does have his translator back in the spawn, so he can kind of get a different back to that. Yeah, he's not, no, so it doesn't look like he's going to change at all. Nope, hacking the mini health back definitely indicates he's staying. And it's just about taking this platform control first. You give a lot less space to the enemy healers too if you do this, because Twilight is so safe. Not so much anymore, as he's purple, so much burn. Now they're rather fast too. That was a beautiful fire grenade from Alarm. You can see how much ult charge Twilight and Alarm ulti, like I said before. The supports, and Smurf has to be a little bit careful, but the Zarya has to be careful with the bubble, and it's going to be a small rotation here from Fusion trying to get onto high ground.
Oftentimes the defense will meet them up on this high ground as well, but it does seem like control of it.
Hello.
Where does the dive come in from?
Hello.
Making progress.
Yeah, this is a really nice
What you up to?
Playing well.
Sado did get hacked. No
You on the hardcore server?
Yep.
And Ivy actually dies in a 1v1 to Rascal in that small room.
Playing with Tom as well. Is she on the server?
Not Fairbanks.
Is that all plans for the day, or you got anything else going on today?
From Twilight, it wasn't Smurf.
I got nothing going on.
That was actually a mistake. Maybe Violet got in the way because it
My
definitely felt like
God.
Smurf was in a bit of a precarious position.
You know what I'm gonna ask.
Jumping onto the point, Rascal's going to go down as well, and now Fusion.
The same thing you asked earlier?
Yeah, Fusion right now just wants to
Yeah.
fight without having to use any more ultimates. Like that.
Hey man, for Bayer.
Okay, that's sicko actually.
I
Oh,
didn't
the
actually
EMP
see
as well, straight on top of Fury. There's the blade. Oh, Choi.
I said most likely or something like that.
Lower 5, he doesn't have the nano boost, so he
Okay,
almost instantly ends up going down. Twilight's thirsty for blood.
Most
Solo and
likely.
Ivy end up
Talk
falling.
shit
That
on
was a
you.
beautiful grab coming out from the Fusion to stop Violet there from
Oh.
getting the rally to the rest of his team.
Yeah,
The
we'll
problem was then Fury
be
got
down to
grabbed.
play layers.
And,
I'm not interrupting any wild times.
Fusion can't really
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
They got so much
Paying for you.
and they can
Get
just
your
evade
head
the
chopped
blade.
off.
I'll see you later.
It caught me a little bit off guard too. Again, I need to learn that San Francisco is still in every single fight. And look what Philadelphia ended up spending to try to pull that one back. The EMP and the blade. Yeah, the grab came out to try to defend it. Now San Francisco has flipped this script. Their economy is in a great position. Philadelphia, though, has his man already. Wow.
Okay, well. Sado dies to Violet. Okay, go again. Look how many ults those Shock have.
There's only a minute left.
A little bit absurd. Yeah, you got
Only a
one fight
minute
here.
left. There's 2 ticks, though, so it doesn't have to be a supreme team fight. San Francisco just banking ultimates right now. I think San Francisco is going to be the aggressors here. I think they come in and try to nail an EMP, because the attackers are going to be grouped up. EMP is much better to land on an attack.
Yeah, someone's hanging around the mega pack here. Isu on the high ground. Hasn't found anything just yet. He's waiting for Sado to jump in. He actually does take the duel with somebody. And now Sado jumps up to the high ground with a final raise, although Nano Blade is still available to get the shot. There's the Nano. The blade might not even need to come out, to be fair. No, Rascal's just not going to go in with this. They're a little bit too far away and isolated too, so this Nano went a little bit astray, I must say. An attempted hack onto Rascal to stop him dashing in, but they must know he has the blade. Sado gets the Nano boost, but it's going to get naded too. He has to just get out of there ASAP. A Graviton Surge will come in from the Shock, as well as that rally on top. And in fact, they're throwing everything in. 13 seconds remains for the Fusion to try and find a place on the first point, but it's not going to happen. And now they're going to have to touch. But I don't think it's going to work. I mean, Hisu, he's got 10% towards his EMP, but San Francisco Shot with pure ultimate economy game has managed to hold the Fusion off this first point. Sado's going to be able to get back just in time, but gets booped away. And the Shock have such a clear win condition. I mean, especially on Anubis, it's such a long way for the second point spawn. It takes you so long to get back if you haven't got a Lucio, you're not a Tracer, like someone with mobility. One fight here, and Shock could end this map right now.
Choi Hoban got 2 Graviton Surges, was able to lap Fury. He was able to get grabbed every 1 minute and 40 seconds. Meanwhile, Fury at 2:31. And while we have this downtime, Jack, it's my favorite game. Pop quiz, hot shot. How many kills did Philadelphia Fusion have on their push?
3.
What the fuck
Right,
was
so
that?
over, it is 2. 2 kills.
2. Okay.
Rascal and Smurf died.
Is that an elite?
I mean, that is...
I don't know, I mean, I'm scared.
And it being close, in fact, both of them being fairly close, you're like, okay, cool. Don't expect to get first held, but there's Twilight Shot, Ana. I love doing damage to Ana, I've always found it quite satisfying.
I just find San Francisco so absurd sometimes because I'll forget about all the guys on the team, and then it's like, well, yeah, okay, Violet's really good at Zen, he's really good Baptiste, but
Okay.
Greg, we got Moth, Lucio, and Mercy covered.
Alright, let's see here.
From Season 2, Twilight, MVP candidate, Roll Star, like...
You think it's elite?
It's absurd.
I really don't
The
know.
embarrassment of riches that San Francisco has.
Shock do be hoarding some good players. I will say that.
Shock do be hoard.
Yep.
I'll find out here.
Nice little leap in there from Smurf.
Probably not.
Track Isu here, ideally. From building this EMP, but we said it before, it's a bit struggling on this Sombra pick. EMPs have been good, but the generation not so much. And look at the space now that Shock are going to be able to claim. They're going to be able to claim this Mega Pack room, however the health pack is hacked, luckily enough for Fusion.
Shoyobin has no energy right now. He's going to try to go get some. Has to be a little careful, but they're holding door.
He's alive somehow still? Okay. That was a ridiculously good nade from Alarm there, waiting for the personal bubble from Choi to go down. And now they're just fighting this room. Eventually Choi dies. There we go. Another fire grenade lands, and that is Shock going down. Nothing really else they can do.
Okay, I mean, now you're thinking this is winnable because it's not like you can only draw this map. San Francisco did put some progress on there. Those free 2 ticks are really going to come back to haunt. Or, excuse me, yeah, Philadelphia put some progress on there. They're at 87%, so San Francisco, their first push extremely botched. The alt economy in favor of Philadelphia by a small margin here. So they need to win 2 more fights, and they can win this map.
Stockpiling ultimates, and that's what Fusion have done. They got EMP, they got Blade, they got Nano Blade, in fact, and they almost have that grab too. 6 ultimates online almost. Nice. Whoa, look at that. That is a get down, Mr. President, right there. Everybody spotting someone being asleep, and they dash around it. EMP comes out. That's a 5-man. That's Rascal dead, and that's the rest of the team gone as well. And now you sit on a Nano Blade, a grab, a Primal Rage. Very winnable from the Fusion. However, Shock not out of this just yet. EMP coming through. That's 4 people hacked. However, the rally's already building up for the Fusion. They're way harder to take down. Ivy with the Nano. He doesn't need the Blade. They're already trapped in the grab. Now with that team fight over again. The Shock investing a fair bit into this fight. They use the Nano, they use the rally and the EMP, but Philadelphia, they had to use a few of their own, and they only have the Blade coming for this next fight with no rally armor. This should disappear, but time to Shock engage again.
Yeah, it's not a few of their own. They used everything. Those are single-digit charges on the entire 4 right players of the Philadelphia. Both supports and both tank ultimates used. Now San Francisco has a Blade of their own, a grab, and a primal here in a huge position. Philadelphia might just try to go in and stop this. If they find a support out alone, I think you just have to gamble with the Naked Blade into the backline.
See where Ivy is. He's kind of hiding around the high ground on the left-hand side with Sado. Ivy is going fairly low, however, and Choi setting up for the grab of his life.
Well, they want to rotate to get up there. I mean, the grab needs to go into the high ground where all the major players are.
Yeah, you can pin it to the wall, though, so maybe that's the play for Choi. He's going to bubble them down. So now the Fusion are in an odd situation where they have to contest. He's just going to do just that. 4-man EMP. Rascal goes down first yet again. And now 40 seconds remains for the Shock. They may have had the ult hex, but Philadelphia Fusion, they managed to build up another EMP. It took Shock so long to decide really what they wanted to do. They pushed in onto the point, had positioning, but Hisu had a better one.
It just wasn't quick enough. They just didn't go quick enough because Hisu was, I think, at 30% when that fight started with the ult, and much maligned in the last couple of maps for his ult charging ability, but he's able to get that EMP off. Last gasp, though, for San Francisco. They're going to have 5 ready to go. Striker gets hacked! Striker gone!
Nano Blade, though, in the bag. Rascal's find one already, and it's to support. The sleep guard goes wide. Alarments are going down as well, but Ivy at least trading 1-for-1. Rascal with a 4K, and now jumps to the back. Ivy and Hisu are low. The Graviton Surge on the 2 HP Ivy finishes him off in the end, and Shock, they managed to get onto the point. Someone still has to touch. Thank goodness Smurf realized that. Fusion are going to be able to come back on the Wrecking Ball, but it doesn't really seem winnable now as Striker is just holding on to this EMP. The Nano Blade was worth it. Ivy tried to clutch it out in the end. Sado's going to be able to come out with a Primal Rage as well. Still winnable. EMP hits a couple of people. Smurf's going to get hacked as well. The rally is here. That is going to be it. Shock are going to push off Fusion in OT. It looks so winnable, but it doesn't matter in the end. The Shock are going to claim the map and claim 2-1 in the series.
A very interesting version of Temple of Anubis. It is Philadelphia Fusion's first loss on that map all season. San Francisco plays the extremely patient game. Philadelphia did what they could. I mean, but that's what San Francisco was trying to set up for, that very good push where everybody uses ultimates. They got EMP'd before it was able to happen, but with 14 seconds left, they come back in. And then the individual plays from Rascal, who is probably the best Genji player on this roster, even though they've been trying to make some moves to solidify that spot. He comes through the dueling blades, and he just gets a little bit more than his counterpart. San Francisco will take the series lead 2-1.
It was all up that second to last fight too, where Philly had almost 6 ults. In fact, they did have 6 ults.
Yes.
And they used 5
them all.
of them. And then Shock, well, they had 4. So it just really all came down to the ultimate economy again. Something that the best teams are going to be able to do is just only use as much as you really need. The Shock did exactly that, and Philadelphia used a little bit of the overextension. It's going to be their chance now to choose a map. Go to map number 4 momentarily. And still, Shock can sub people in and out. They're more than happy to do so. I can imagine we're going to see a little bit of advance potentially soon, as lots of these escort maps have a lot of Widowmaker sightlines. We're going to jump to a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Philly's a map choice. We're 2-1. And the next one is going to be a good one.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
Closer.
Here you go. The house special with Dietz and Watson pepper turkey.
Oh, no, I ordered a ham sandwich.
Yeah, I know, but today's not a ham sandwich kind of day, Susan. I'm feeling the pepper turkey.
Really?
Spoke to me and called out, Susan. Hold up, I just got a provolone vibe too. Oh, girl, now you're all Applewood smoked with your ham self. Ham, girl, it's amazing.
That sounds delicious.
Trust the sandwich, Susan. Trust the sandwich.
I will.
Trust the sandwich.
It was a lot of fun, action-packed. Battlegrounds was amazing. It's very simple to pick up, easy to understand. It's a little tougher. It's a lot more brutal.
There's just always a different outcome.
I want to get right back in line. All it takes is one turn for you to totally change the whole board.
I'll see you on the battleground.
I'll see you
On the battleground.
Hearthstone!
Birds.
Welcome back. Shock lead the series 2-1 currently as well. Next map is going to be Watch Point Gibraltar, chosen by Philly. And I'd be pretty scared if I went
Ooh.
to a lot of the escort maps currently, as it's a pretty good stomping ground.
Oh.
Widowmaker, and it doesn't look like Arns is going to come back in as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on Widow, I mean,
have
there's not a lot of great maps to go to.
Bear thing, quest item on it.
I believe the records, I just looked at them and I already forgot.
And I seen a son of Aragorn right here.
On this one. Not a whole lot of playtime here, but I think you just go to Gibraltar because everybody has been practicing this dive composition, the Zarya Winston dive composition.
Oh shit, I gotta get my laundry.
And then it's kind of rounding out what else run with that Genji in that
Okay.
scenario. Is it a Widow? Is it a
Okay.
But I would imagine that San Francisco is tipping their hand a little bit that they want to run a Widow, and that's why Ons is it.
No surprise there, really. We'll see how we end up trying to counter this. I want to know if they're just going to run the kind of the anti-Widow, or have Hisu back on the Widow himself to 1v1 Arns. Of course, we will see what they want to defense first, X.
I mean, I understand the meta as what it is, but it is a little bit surprising that Philadelphia is going to go to a finals in a tournament, and Carpe might be on the bench the whole series.
Yeah.
I mean,
They've
that's
actually never
surprising.
met San Francisco Shock in this tournament format either. The last two, they've never crossed paths until this point, and it being the last tournament as well. I mean, those extra wins on the line means a whole
Philadelphia hasn't beaten San Francisco since season 1. I mean, that was a different San Francisco team as well. Like, San Francisco was sandbagging in Season 1, I guess, because they had a bunch of underage players, like Super and Sinatra weren't eligible, and they just kind of fielded a roster, and they were playing the long game. Whenever I talked to the organization and the ownership, they're like, no, just wait till Season 2. Season 2 will be good. And yeah, they won Season 2, so they had a plan going into it. But yeah, that's the last time Philadelphia was able to beat the San Francisco Shock. And we shall see. Ons on offense is going to be on the Sombra first, but maybe this is just to allow the versatility.
Well, they're going to know that Jesus on this Sombra as well. I wonder if Ons does end up switching. I'm not sure he is. Kind of doing damage, less about scouting. High ground control, name of the game for Watchpoint Gibraltar. You see Smurf just kind of escorting the payload. I mean, the best thing for Hisu here is basically just to get behind the enemy lines and just start poking at the tanks. Hisu's going to be able to get priority control of the health packs. Well, oh dear, inside his own bubble. And Choi, oh, whoops daisy, gets booped off the map as well. There is someone still pushing the payload. It is Striker. Fury cleans up the rest though and stops the payload from moving too. Now Hisu can just set up really well. It's kind of a soft counter to Striker too. Striker's dead. Yeah, that's a pretty stack kill actually. It's a kind of a soft counter to the Tracer, because if you hack all the health packs, Hex, you can't really scurry anywhere. You literally have to go back to your healers in order to get healing. So it can be very annoying for Striker to actually get a lot of space to do work in the background.
And it's also going to be somewhat difficult for Twilight to heal the Tracer as well. I mean, Tracer's a small target far away, and you don't really want to be standing still as a Tracer. So it's up to Violet to just try to toss him packs, and that's less packs for everybody else.
Tracer pretty fast.
More packs.
Should be fine. Get around the corner. Slow, grueling push here. Oh my god, that was so low. Oh, the nano boost onto the blue box. Oh dear, he does get slept. Oh, and they leave him too. Oh, this is disaster. Sado just leapt up to the moon and then got slept and hacked. And now the EMP's going to come out though. Smurf, Choi, Arns, they've all been hacked. Striker sends out the post bomb but doesn't quite find anybody. That's a beautiful counter EMP there from the Fusion. Hisu spotted how many members of the Shock were kind of in and around his team, hits the EMP, and manages to take out Smurf, or at least attempt to help him. Graviton Surge into the front line as well. Violet jumps into the bubble to try and heal everybody up, but it's not going to work. The Fusion continuing to hold this payload.
And they invested everything that they had going into that one. Ons dies, but he is going to be the absolute key to their next fight. He's going to have an EMP ready, and that's about all they have to work with. Funny Astro will have a rally to perhaps counter that. Philadelphia not working with a ton themselves. Let's see if the Ons Sombra can get something done here.
See what he's playing. He's still kind of with the team currently.
We're at 90 seconds, and they're just past Car Wash.
You only need one fight, however. I had Hisu's beacon with a little call out from far behind. Hisu is closing in on an EMP of his own. If he can kind of get this ASAP, they may be able to counter EMP, but Striker has seen him, so he's going to have to back off. Now they both have EMP. EMP first from the Fusion. Shock again, a little bit late to the party. Hex once more. Ivy and Arns do end up trading out, but Sadu is staying alive with this Primal Rage. This is a good look for the Fusion right now. Ivy's going to be able to get back rather fast too. Arns can come back with the EMP of his own, but the Fusion are going to be able to hold the high ground. A Graviton Surge on to the point. Pulse Bomb goes a little bit wide. In fact, I think it was bubbled by Choi. And now Fury just runs to the back line and kills off Twilight and Choi. The EMP has come out. Hex, it hit 3 people. Hisu ends up falling. It's Striker and Smurf's duty now to try and clean up this fight. But Fury's going to be able to get kept alive, and he's still holding this grab. Shock are just all over the place on this map. Indecisiveness with these EMPs is not landing them in a good space. 25 seconds now remaining for them to put this payload in the first point.
I mean, if you were going to run Sombra the whole time, I don't know why like Striker doesn't run it or Rascal doesn't run it. Ons' Sombra, he plays it aggressively, and he EMP'd and he died immediately. And yes, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but the follow-up damage needs to be there from even just the Sombra, and also getting the secondary hacks when EMP starts fading, and he's out of the fight.
Okay, Ons
Desperation Widow.
Pick. I mean, this is it. This is the true desperation pick.
Blade,
always has been. Choi gets hacked as well. He can't go to the payload. Someone has to touch. Someone has to touch. The Tracer does in the end, but Smurf ends up getting caught out alone, and now the Blade's going to be big. Fury doesn't end up going down. I say the Blade's going to be big. The Graviton Surge went wide as well, but the damage is really there. And finally, Arns gets taken out. Ivy may have been slept, and Twilight does pull it off. The miracle sleep on the Blade, but with Striker the only surviving member from the Shock on the payload, is they going to be able to do too much with just a single pick? The Fusion are going to halt them just before first point. It's either you get held at first, or you make it all the way to the third point and finish on this map. There is literally no in between. And this time around, they'll Philly hold them. Shock again with the EMPs. Hisu was 75%-ish. He was around that kind of bracket, and Arns had EMP. And I said, Hisu needs to build up CMP, maybe go for a counter. Nope, Hisu built up EMP, hit it, and Shock hadn't used theirs yet. And they just get rolled over. And then they were in a clutch situation, and Arns ended up using it, hitting 2 people, but then there was no follow-up.
And Sato didn't die at all that map. He was getting primal every minute 15. Hisu, 1 minute and 20 on the EMP charges, ends up with 16 enemies hacked, only 8 EMPs, so the individual hacks also coming in huge. San Francisco only managed 6 kills that entire offense. It's not the best comp for San Francisco. Unfortunately, it's very popular in the meta to be running the Sombra, and San Francisco, the signing window's closed. Otherwise, I'm sure they just signed the best Sombra we've ever seen play somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like Arns, and I kind of thought they put him on the Widowmaker here because it is such a good Widowmaker map. Or even
it makes sense,
as well. I mean, he's going to be on the Sombra yet again. It is very defendable, mind you. Just make you aware, like it is very defendable. Most teams currently, we must have a stat for it somewhere.
I think the thought was San Francisco thinking like, hey, when we get to last point, because we're San Francisco.
Wait, what was that? They were just angrily looking at each other, and then Sato falls over because Choi punched him in the face.
Looked like some cover art.
It really did, actually. Most of them looking at each other, just angrily, just mouse wanting bubbles.
Well, it's going to slow down Philadelphia just a little bit, but this is where you're getting all the free push anyway. They pressure out Ons just with a triple shuriken shot.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate from Ivy, actually. Shurikens are fairly hard to land. It's a very unique weapon. It's like Lucio's in a way. It's rather unique. The right click not so much, but the left click there's a certain knack to it. Certain skill.
Right click is just shuriken shotgun.
Yeah, you right click, you gain ult. You right click, you Oz. That's what Genji's life is currently. Blue box control for the Fusion here, though, which is really good because Alarm can set up really nicely.
Yeah, he's just chilling. And I mean, if you're a Winston, like you're almost going to even dive this.
Nice bubble there from Choi to cleanse the path. That could have been horrible if he got dove on there.
Just have Nano. Nano for both teams. Smurf's hacked though.
Yeah, Ivy's going to wait, though. You don't want a Nano just yet. Well, they do, in fact. They actually Nano Sato into the Mega Health Pack room, so they're going to be able to go in with the Blade. They do can take control of the payload as well. Violet is going to be purple, and Striker now managing to finish up Sato. Okay, good start from the Shock. They don't want to let go of this space just yet. And yeah, they're going to be able to back off. Fusion, they know they can't win this fight. Just making sure the Shock invest things here is going to be good for their ultimate economy. They still have 2 minutes, of course, and the payload is 10 meters away from being completed.
Yeah, San Francisco leading on some important ults as well. They're going to have Rally much quicker at about 20% more, and they already have their Graviton Surge up. For me, this one is all about the Sombras. Hisu should definitely be able to get this. Oh, he gets the Translocator! No one's able to capitalize, but now Hisu's got his EMP. He who Qs first might just win this map.
Yeah, well, if Fusion know they need to Q first because they've got Blade as well. Alarm could even build up to another Nano. They could, in fact, wait for an entire rotation of the Nano here to end up winning 6 ults. Twilight with the sleep onto Sato. He's going to be safe, though. There's the EMP. Hisu is going to throw it out. Ivy's going to get purple as well. The Blade comes through, and Striker and Arns have already just dished out so much damage that they end up going down. Striker with a 3-piece of his own. That's a lot invested from the Fusion. The Shock, they now have the Nano. They've got the grab, and they have the pulse bomb too. They've got a clear win condition. The EMP and the Nano didn't end up, sorry, the EMP and the Blade from Fusion didn't end up working here. So more of an even playing field as we enter into this last fight. However, Astro with the rally is going to be pretty big.
Rally, Nano, Grav, I mean, you can get a lot done here, especially with an individual hack. I mean, if they can hack the opposing Zarya and get their Grav off, they can win this map. And Solo.
Okay, Nano boost onto the Winston again. There's going to be a nice bubble from Choi. Look at him just kind of holding the fort currently. Yeah, he's going to get tickled from the back there, but Arns already ends up going down. Smurf as well. Choi manages to find one. A Graviton searching the payload too. The pulse bomb's going to be big. There's a personal bubble in the way though. And Fury manages to stay alive, and is now at 100 energy. Joy gets burnt down. And now Philadelphia Fusion in control of the payload. 20 seconds remaining, and the shock need to touch. Striker gets back in time, but gets bashed.
Oh,
Instantly killed off.
I
The
need to
purple
kill
options
her.
supports as well, and the Fusion tie up the series. What a piece! As they manage to hold the shock before the first point and cap now as well. This was going to be close, Hex, but I didn't think it was going to be this close. The Fusion on their map pick hold them on first point. What a fantastic.
Hello again.
Hello.
Just to kind of win the fight previous.
Play some Overwatch.
Just ridiculous. Joy was trying
Rally the
so
troops.
hard to try and salvage that as they got
I mean, I'll put out the message, but I don't know how quickly they'll respond.
on King's Ruin, kind of playing a little bit split. Choi had to come up with something big with the grab. He managed to net one person, but Fury was almost 5 steps ahead of him. He knew the post one was coming out, able to survive it with a personal bubble, and they couldn't really do anything from that.
Oh, give me time to
Set the series.
wrap up
Going into
what I'm
it,
doing.
in for a barn burner. It's just
What level you at?
play his personal bubbles.
I'm about to do 16.
Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel pretty
What class? Shaman?
Yeah.
Now it's Shock's turn to choose
Yes.
a map. It's a bit ping-pongy back and forth at the moment. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Aggroed a son of Argol earlier. Managed to get away.
Wait, what'd you do?
Aggroed a son of Argol.
Oh, you're leveling up in the undead zones?
I'm going everywhere. Trying to keep the quests like a level or 2 under me. To keep it safe. While I can. I already did 1 round of the Barons, did all the lower stuff. Then the stuff is around level 15, the quests are like 15 and I'm 15, so came over here to do all like the 13, 12, 13, 14 stuff.
Yes, you doing enhancement leveling or what?
Yeah. Probably pretty hard to do elemental without like any kind of twin gear or anything.
Just get lots of water, I guess.
I know, unfortunately I can't even get mage water, shit.
What is it? Trust no one.
Well, here's the quest I died on. My previous character.
Which one's that?
Just killing some undead dude in a barn over here.
Gotta watch out for undead dudes in barns.
Yep. He's already dead.
Must be double dead.
Distance. We're jumping onto another control map now, and it's going to be Oasis.
Yeah, I think getting these early wins against San Francisco from Philadelphia really just helps their mental a lot. Is, you know, if they bleed, we can kill it kind of thing. Because San Francisco has been
I want to get into one of these dungeon runs.
most consistent,
So I gotta, I don't know. I'll get into WC once I get over 20.
Philadelphia's able to hold close now. It's like, okay, we definitely can beat these guys. Not saying they weren't confident to begin with, but now that you're on the cusp of beating them, and you're doing some like really good defensive plays. Like we barely saw any of.
Well, I texted Mikey. Let me text Billy too and see what he's doing.
Like these are just defensive squads, and they're
He needs to take a treatment, he needs to eat, needs to finish up work. We'll be on at 11 p.m.
Well, then I won't bother.
I'm just kidding. I made all that up, but I'm pretty sure that's gonna be his response.
I don't know. The shot can just be like, look at our players, by the way, they're pretty good. Give us handles. You can see, of course, the history of the two teams on your screen.
I don't know who does and doesn't have notifications turned on.
Philadelphia were 2-1 overall.
Probably nobody, but you.
That's fair.
I can't do it, man. Sometimes like these insane conversations break out and I'm at work and my phone's just popping off. Can't be doing it.
Pretty ridiculous that we've not seen them, face off against each other. It's a delight to see them once again.
It's okay. I understand.
In the league, being split up into two little regions is a little bit more different now, so you're going to see a lot of the teams play against each other a little bit more, but I cannot believe we've had to wait this long to see Philadelphia play against the San Francisco Shock. It's kind of ridiculous, but what a better way to see it than in a finals of one of the cups. So 2-2, like I said, we're going to Oasis. Rascal is going to be in, and Hex, it's going to be the same thing. Rascal is going to be in for the more flexibility. Widowmaker and Hitscan in general can be played on Oasis, I think.
There isn't a server I do not have muted though.
Yeah, I mean, you think about University, no, not really.
I just try to check them manually.
Like, Widow can be
And which server is that?
No, I don't have. There's not a single server that I don't have muted.
But for the most part, Oasis is not a good Widow map. Come on, Rascal, give me like an Echo or Pharah here. Give me something, because Oasis is actually conducive to those kind of vertical plays, especially the city center, the Spire in the middle to be able to hide around. We shall see what they want to play. Control has played out very differently than the rest of the maps lately, so it's always a big guessing game going into it, but you'd have to imagine that there still is going to be a dive focus for Philadelphia unless they're forced off of it. Sato's Winston is just miles ahead of his other tanks, in my opinion, and it's almost always been that way. So he's always much better when he's able to play the Winston at a high level. Right now, San Francisco has Smurf on Sigma, but they haven't left spawn, so who knows just yet.
Ooh, that was unlucky. Shock couldn't quite get to the mid-pack quick enough. Oh no, I guess not the mid-pack, the jump pack. Yep, that was great. I like the, I was going to say, I really like the song on this map specifically, because you can kind of hide away around these trees and attack whoever kind of comes near you. Luckily enough, Smurf managed to get his bubble down before any meaningful damage was actually done. And the controlling of the high ground is going to be fairly important. Rascal's in a lot of trouble, but luckily enough, no energy whatsoever. He's going to be a little bit more energized now as he gets a full bubble's worth of charge. Oh dear, that hack was good. He's to hacking Choi and isolating him. However, Sato suffered the same fate. Smurf coming back in. His tank's dead for the size of the fusion, and even a hack onto the onto the Genji too. He's not doing all too much. The Shock definitely with a nice little position over the fusion.
Oh, missed the shotgun shurikens. Like, usually you think, like, you're getting hacked as Genji, that, like, oh, it's fine, I'll right-click. Missed them all. He's just tiptoeing through the raindrops there, gets the hack, gets the kill. That's huge.
Nanobate available for both teams almost. Twilight a little bit behind Alarm currently. Nano, oh, the EMP, that would have been so sick, but the EMP actually landed on 3 people on the fusion. 5 hack for the Shock. Choi going low, somehow kept alive, and Nano boost on Fury to keep him in the fight. No Nano Blade available for the fusion now, as they only have IV with the ult. Rascal's approaching his.
Embrace the shadow.
This is going to be Shock's big turnaround ultimate.
Well, they don't really need to turn anything around. They're in full control here, and you know, Oasis is a map that the fights aren't over until they're fully over. Here comes Blade.
Blade. Oh, there's nothing you can do. Run away. Oh, that was unfortunate. And now they can just sit in control. Control is such a fickle mistress as well, because if you control the point first, you're in such a good position where you force the enemy team to use ults. You force them to push into you, so you not only gain a lot more ult charge, but the time is not of essence to you. You can sit on the point, you can stall out with things like Primal Rage, and then you force the enemy team into using ults. We're now up to 70% for the Shock.
Been watching Overwatch League a lot lately. Mostly just leaving it on and AFKing it, but sometimes I watch it.
Oh, you still get points for doing that?
Yeah, but it's like super garbage. Like, I left it on like 5 or 6 days in a row, and these things are playing from like the morning until fucking bedtime. Some of these like days that they're doing these things, it's all fucking day. And then I'll get like 5 points or something. It's like, what? This shit costs 100 points. Almost useless. They just want you to buy them.
They pop the rally to get back into this fight, but now Fusion in that nice situation where they can just kind of sit back and relax, wait for Salo to come back. But no, they're gonna step off the point.
Alright, I'm on my way back to town.
Now and only hit one as well. Hisu managing to score Rascal and then get him with a manual hack too. He's gonna get hacked manually and then stunned and then not even go down. The shot is pumping so many resources into Rascal, and now they're in OT. They have to stick on the point and luckily managed to get the flip hex. Fury's at 100%, and that's just a crazy tool right there. Click on them, they're out of the game. San Francisco, it's because that they have won fights 2v4 before that those things are going to happen. The only big mistake
Also, ding, 16.
Nice. And they try to get back in there. I don't mind Smurf.
And I got some good quests to turn in.
Philadelphia stepping off the point. It's not that big of a deal. It's a pet peeve of mine, but it didn't end up hurting them. Look at the ults though. Oh my god, that was a big EMP. Alarm.
Oh, I gotta grab this chest. There's a chest right here.
The Nanoblade comes in. That's 3 kills for Rascal. I'd be trying to like
Surrounded by 3 mobs. Oh my god.
Choi and Violet end up going down. The Genji 1v1 on the payload on the point. Striker's back. Oh, it's cheating from the shock. The 2v1 in the end. Disrespected. The 1v1. OT now here for the shock as it ticks down. Fusion can come back to this maybe. They managed to touch the point just in time, and they've got ult to spare as well. Alarm jumping over to the Moira to make sure he can keep his team alive in this oncoming fight. And this one is not over by any means right now. Philadelphia with an enormous ultimate advantage.
Don't kill me, no! Oh, I spent my health almost.
Eventually take control once more. Well, that's great for Philadelphia as well because they use 2 tank ultimates, but look, their damage are still holding on to it. A nice late stagger as Alarm gives him the Colin Robinson treatment. Energy Vampire towards the grave. Philadelphia is going to be able to come back with this because they have an EMP, they have a blade, and now we're nearing final fight here. What does San Francisco have to be able to fight this back? It may have to come up to the rally, and rally should keep them alive long enough to be able to match an EMP and a blade, but you don't want to be in position where you get caught out first. Oh, that's a good EMP as well. The blade's going to come out too. Smurf, Joy, Violet hacked. Smurf, Violet dead. Joy's going to get chased down as well by Astro. Finds a nice little boot kill. And now Shock in a dangerous situation where they need to be able to touch the point. I don't think they're going to be able to. Almost a complete team wipe. Alarm just kind of spraying around, see if he can find anybody sneaking. There you go. There's Striker. Manages to get the OT as well. So coming back in with the Primal Rage is still not lost for the Shock. Smurfing can continually touch here on the point. There is the coalescence to try and turn the tides. However, Striker with the EMP is going to be pretty big. Fury Sado, Ivy hacked, and Fury ends up getting taken out. And now Rascal with the blade. And the rally at his back. Rascal finds 3 yet again. Alarm finds him, but it doesn't matter at all. Because Twilight's now on the point with Violet. He's going to have Nano for this fight as well. Somehow, some way, the Shock come back. In what looks such a winnable fight for the Fusion. Striker ended up touching. They triggered OT. They sent Smurf on the Winston, who was then able to leap in and out with the Primal Rage and continue contesting. And Shock take the round. I very rarely call fights over and be wrong about it, but it's San Francisco. I just have to tell myself, like, when are you going to learn this lesson, old man? It's San Francisco. It's not over till it's over, till the bell rings, till the whatever you want to call it, whatever old adage you want to use. San Francisco always finds a way. My goodness, I can't believe they're able to pull stuff like that off. 1-0 on Oasis, tied up in the series final of the Countdown Cup between these 2 behemoths. And it looks like we have a mirror match yet again.
Behemoths?
Should be okay. Maybe too far behind on the ult charge. Striking will throw that to 70 just to make sure if we do get in danger. Philadelphia Fusion yet again managed to take Mega Pack control, so they can just play around that, or at least have Sado just kind of sit on it. It's a lot less pressure on the healers, of course. Joyoven ends up going down. You can see the pressure they're exerting is so tough when the enemy team have like a third source of healing from these hacked mega packs. Of course, they respawn a lot quicker as well, so it's worth keeping in mind. Usually end up capping the point first, and I still sleep again on Ivy, but that's fine.
What would you ask of death?
San Francisco can come back in with an EMP. They're a little bit faster on the EMP charge as Hisu is getting hurt again, so has to bail out.
Oh, Strike is dead. Are they going to be able to follow this up? I don't think they can. Oh, the kill onto Alarm's going to be good though. He got isolated in the side. I kind of take it back. There's the blade from Ivy straight into the back line. Twilight got hacked as well, so couldn't even grenade himself. He couldn't sleep. Ivy finds two, and it being both the supports as well. Shock after plays that one a little bit more scarce. Smurf takes out Fury, but still no heals on the point. Doesn't matter. Smurf literally doesn't care. He rips through two people. Striker's going to come back as well, and they find the flip.
Yeah, Smurf ends up winning out in that monkey knife fight. Gorgeous George ain't so gorgeous no more, and he's able to get another two on top of it. Cisco now in control.